The former welterweight champion, Kamaru Usman, established his stance in the title picture after defeating Joaquin Buckley via a unanimous decision. He showed the world that he was still worthy of fighting for the championship belt. But little did the fighting community know that the Nigerian Nightmare had already planned the next steps for cementing his legacy. And that ended with him in the middleweight division. It means a fight against the middleweight champion, Dricus Du Plessis, provided he defends his belt at UFC 319. Stillknocks is set to defend his belt for the third time against Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319. After the Chechen Wolf absolutely dominated Robert Whittaker at UFC 308, the South African kept his aim fixed on Chimaev. And it seemed like the Nigerian Nightmare wants Borz to lose so that he can face Du Plessis in the near future. In a conversation with TMZ Sports, the former welterweight champion said, after getting the welterweight belt, they UFC have asked and waited for years and years for me to go up and get the middleweight strap. And why not? I will relinquish that if Dricus Du Plessis is still the champion. All African card. Africa vs. Africa, first card in Africa. UFC is close to getting that done. Usman continued, South Africa vs. Nigeria. I mean, it's a rivalry that's been built forever, you know. Sports rivalry. So, I think that's another blockbuster. I think those are two mega events that you're gonna remember for generations. You know, manifestation is very, very powerful. If things start to kinda fall in line, I think we're gonna see a pretty interesting next 18 months. However, he wasn't really oblivious to Chimaev's strength. While talking to Henry Cejudo on the Pound for Pound podcast, Usman claimed that there's a 100% chance that Chimaev takes Du Plessis down. But finishing the middleweight champion might be a heavy toll for Borz, given that Stillknocks is one of the strongest fighters in the roster. Still, Du Plessis isn't the only champion that the Nigerian Nightmare has put in his crosshairs. Well, being a former welterweight champion, reclaiming the 170-pound belt seemed like the perfect calling to Usman. Let's see what he had to say about his next opponent. Following his win over New Mansa at UFC Atlanta, Kamaru Usman weighed in on his next plan at the post-fight press conference. And he named Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena as his next probable opponents. That's right, the Nigerian Nightmare has to reclaim his welterweight belt before he can plan on going to the middleweight category. Usman quoted, "Let's be honest, I'm the biggest name in the division, and this is about entertainment. UFC is an entertainment company. If you want to make the biggest fight, it's going to be me versus the winner of JDM and Islam. If Islam pulls that one out, former pound for pound versus current pound for pound, who doesn't pay for that?" Right after that, a reporter asked if the win at UFC Atlanta earned the former welterweight champion an immediate title shot. Usman seemed pretty confident in his stance regarding the title picture. He replied, "Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't feel like that. Who else? And all we need to do as fans is wait for Dana White to make the matchup official."